The NBA season is continuing to get closer and closer, and we're getting closer to seeing who will be the best players in the league. Every year, you have your normal candidates like LeBron, Kevin Durant, or Joel Embiid, but you've also got guys that have a breakout season who surprised nearly everyone, like Darius Garland, DeJounte Murray, and Jordan Poole from last year. Last season, there were a plethora of players who made massive jumps in their development from the previous year, and there are sure going to be quite a few in this upcoming season as well. Welcome back to our channel, where today we're going to be going over NBA players that will pop off in the 2022-2023 season. Sit back and enjoy. First up is Evan Mobley. Mobley had a fantastic rookie campaign last season, one of the better ones in recent memory. He was instantly one of the best defenders in the league the second that he stepped on the court, and he also had a solid offensive game to the side as well. Although he didn't win Rookie of the Year, he averaged an impressive 15 points per game, 8.3 boards, and a whopping 1.7 blocks per game. Having a stat line of this caliber as a rookie is outstanding, especially when you look at his defensive stats. There's nothing to suggest that Mobley can improve on the defensive end even more and become an all-NBA defensive team lock. His offensive output should improve massively as well. He had all the talent in the world last year to average more points than he did, probably more in the 20-point range, but he showed very little aggression as a rookie. Now that Mobley has had a year to adjust to the NBA and the Cavaliers' offensive system, expect him to become a lot more comfortable and aggressive on the offensive end and become an even more efficient scorer. Mobley should also control the offense a lot more in his sophomore year. Coming out of the NBA draft, scouts said that his best attribute was his passing ability and the way that he's able to make plays in transition and out of half-court sets. As he becomes a more notable name in the starting lineup, expect his assist total to skyrocket from 2.5 that he had last season. Even averaging just a tad bit more, around 4 assists per game, would be massive for his development and the Cavaliers' development. Mobley has all the makings to be a generational talent, and this could be the year that he really pops off and steps into a whole new light. Next up is Tyrese Haliburton. Haliburton has been easily one of the top players from the 2020 draft class since entering the NBA, but this year will be the first time that he will be the main star of the show in Indiana. Although the Pacers will most likely be one of the least competitive teams in the league, it gives Haliburton an opportunity to develop into one of the brightest young guards in today's game. In just 26 games with the Pacers, he averaged 17.5 points and 10 assists per game while shooting 50% from the field. It is extremely rare for any guard to average a double-double and shoot at such a high efficiency like Haliburton did, but he was able to take advantage in just his second season. He's slowly been developing into a generational offensive player with his sharpshooting and playmaking abilities, and a scoring jump seems right on the horizon for the young guard. His ability to create remains mediocre at best, but Haliburton has never been content with his game. He's steadily improved in every aspect of his game over the past 2 years, and you would expect after a full offseason of training once again for him to show massive improvements once again. Even if the Pacers will most likely finish as a lottery team, expect Haliburton to jump over at least 20 points per game and continue to dish out double-digit assists per game as well. Next up is Christian Wood. Wood was in the thick of the conversation for the 2020-2021 Most Improved Player of the Year before he was struck down with injuries. In his first season with the Houston Rockets, Wood was getting all-star nods early in the season and gave Rockets fans something to cheer about during the whole James Harden situation. Now in a brand new environment in Dallas and being paired with one of the best players currently in the league, expect Wood to return from his early form and only grow from there. Wood is one of the most interesting big men in the league, and some fans have called him a cheaper Anthony Davis with his ability to create from all 3 levels of the floor and being extremely effective in pick-and-roll situations. Even with his elite offensive repertoire as a big man, he's got so much more to give on the defensive end, especially when he seemed extremely unmotivated last year. He continued to struggle with injuries and was clearly disappointed with his situation in Houston. Wood was under the impression that he'd be playing for one of the most high-powered offenses in the league, constantly competing for a championship, which we all know is not what happened. Now with the Dallas Mavericks, he gets a chance to do what he always wanted to do. Next up is Quentin Grimes. Grimes was one of the few standout players from the NBA Summer League and was in the thick of the Summer League MVP conversation. Grimes averaged 22.6 points per game, 4.2 boards, and 4 assists while playing around 30 minutes each game. Although he wasn't given a huge role in his rookie year, he showed a ton of promise in his limited playing time. Grimes has a combination of relentless defensive effort and great spot-up shooting abilities. Grimes is on a path to be one of the league's best 3-and-D guards for a very long time. and his shot is already one of the best in the league, and his shot arc is nearly perfect as well. He may not be the best defensive player on the court, but the amount of effort that he puts in each and every possession cannot be taught. Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau is known for developing elite defensive schemes for the teams that he coaches, and that can only help Grimes improve on the defensive end. Grimes is also one of the most underrated creators in the league, and while he may not become a top scorer for the Knicks, his ability to create from mid-range and explode toward the basket helps expand his offensive abilities and makes him that much more versatile. While it's in the conversation that the Knicks may go out and trade for Donovan Mitchell, which would put Grimes on the bench, he can still become one of the premier best six men in the league. If Grimes is given a bigger role than last season, expect him to be one of the purest shooters and best role players for the Knicks this upcoming season as they try to reach the playoffs once again. Next up is Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter is a guy who always gets picked to potentially be one of the most improved players every year, but this seems like it could finally be the year. With another guy on this list in Christian Wood moving on to Dallas, somebody has to be a top contributor in Houston, and that man is KPJ. He's had quite a few games where he absolutely pops off and is red hot from the field. He's had a 50-point game already in his career, along with many other nights where he showed massive potential as a top scorer. In just his third season in the league, Porter Jr. averaged 15.6 points per game, along with 6.2 assists and 4.4 rebounds. He's a phenomenal three-point scorer and has an elite control of his body as an effective slasher. His athleticism is fairly underrated, especially when he gets close to the hoop. Not to mention he's got great ball handling abilities as well. His ball handling skills mesh into his playmaking abilities, and his IQ and passing could allow him to be an 8 assists per game kind of guy. As a slasher, he's got the strength and ability to get into the lane and initiate offense in transition. This could finally be the year where Porter Jr. takes off and can help set up an elite backcourt in Houston as they slowly build their way back up into relevancy. This next NBA season has a ton of potential and is sure to be an exciting one, especially with all the drama surrounding some of the top players in the league. There are still 2 months before the regular season kicks off, and nearly anything is possible. While almost everyone is waiting to see what exactly happens with Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, don't forget about the players on this list who are poised to have monster seasons. But with that, that's going to do it for today's video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss any more of our content. Also, let us know who you guys think is going to break out this season. Is it any of the guys on this list, or is it somebody that we didn't mention? Also, feel free to share any opinions that you've got about this coming NBA season as well. We'd love to hear them. But thanks again, and we will see you guys in the next one.